Hello, we're live. Hi, Viv.
Hello, Tiffy. How you be?
Awesome. And how are you?
I am all over the place and fabulous.
All over the place and fabulous. What better way to be?
A little bit sideways, a little bit forward, but generally all over the place.
Indeed. So, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone in the Ladies Lounge Facebook group. Men, ladies, women, gentlemen, children, whoever may be joining us now and in the future, welcome and thanks for being here. So Viv and I have just recently finished the Certified Facilitator, easy for me to say, Certified Facilitator training for Relationships Done Different. So we're basically fresh out of that class, and it was an amazing class, and we just wanted to really have a little chat together about it and share it with you guys. So how was it for you, Viv?
Yeah, I mean, the prerequisites for the Certified Facilitator training were to do two and a half day classes with Simone Milasas and Brendan Watt, who are the Grand Poobahs. They are the facilitators of Relationships Done Different. And yeah, it was just the first two classes were very much about us getting clear on what relationship is, because most people jump to the conclusion, even just hearing relationships done different, they immediately look externally to their significant other, their children, their family, rather than, yes, it's including that, but primarily it's about your relationship with yourself. And this is something that not many people would even consider, because we kind of merrily go about our day and our way and our life, and we don't often include us much. So part of the journey with the Ladies Lounge, if you've watched any of Tiff's and my other StreamYards, you're becoming more aware of, no, this is very much about who you be, how you be, what you desire, and how to create that. So how was it for me? It was incredibly empowering. It shone light into areas where I think we function from so many conclusions and automatic pilots and roles and keeping people happy, that it just creates the space for you to just navigate who you are. This sounds such a weird thing, but who are you really? Have you ever contemplated, who am I? How was it for you?
Oh yeah, look, amazing. And in talking about the prereqs for this class, like you said, some of those is two of the 2.5 day classes with Simone and Brendan, and they have really been some of my favorite classes. There is a space of allowance and a rawness and a vulnerability that's available with absolutely no judgment of anything at all that might come up for you when you're in one of those classes. And I think that level of vulnerability and kindness really is something that also stood out to me in this training class. We had, all these people choosing to be Relationship Done Different certified facilitators for the first time ever. I think you and I, Viv, were actually at the first ever Relationship Done Different intro and 2.5 day class in Australia.
Yes.
And, we were part of the creation of it. And yeah, when we were on that class, so many people that were on the CF class were just really so grateful for the space and the level of contribution that everyone had with each other. And it made me remember that I was working in corporate. This was actually, I think, just around the time that I came across Access Consciousness, and we're in the boardroom, and I was in there with my team, which was a small team of about 5 people. And everyone in that boardroom was basically being horrible to each other, in kind of manipulative, underhand ways, but it was also very obvious. And I remember going, okay, guys, can we just stop for a second? And I was like, what if we could actually just be nice to each other and be supportive of each other just for like half an hour? And the response I got from them was one of the first times that I really started to go, this is not for me, because they just made fun of me. You know, they just made fun of me. So I'm sitting on this CF training with all of these amazing people who are all contributing to each other and excited about what we might be able to create in the world, with relationships done different, and a really different perspective and point of view about what relationships are and can be in your world. And I was like, wow, you know, 10 years ago or whatever, I remember the point in that boardroom where I asked for something different, and here it is. So yeah.
Thank you for that, because you've just given me an awareness. I've been out and about. I live in Noosa, which is, you know, a holiday destination. It's one of Australia's premier holiday destinations, and it's early December, and the roads are packed, the beach is full, you know, there are people on holiday, but there's this agitation with each other and this competition, like even in the traffic or in the queue or walking down to the beach, there's this hustle all going on. And it's like, wow, everybody's wanting to get their piece of their pie, or this is my part on the road. Like just stopping and letting somebody into the traffic. Everybody else is bumper to bumper. And I'm like, and I was very aware of it this morning, going, what is up out there this morning? It's just this absolute static, crazy energy. But thank you, because I've just come out of this 4-day relationship done different class. And prior to that, a 5-day maestro class with Dr. Dane here as well, where you just start to see the world and you start to choose to interact with the world and your life and yourself and everybody around you in such a different way, like Tiff said, that is considering each other, not to the point where you give yourself up and you make it about somebody else, but you're including them and you're including you, but you're aware of what that choice is creating. So when you talked about, wow, you know, they made fun of you, a lot of people are really uncomfortable and they choose separation. They choose to have that comfortable distance. They choose to keep your arm's length rather than, hey, what can we be together? What can we contribute together? And you know, every time, no matter what's going on in my life, I so look forward to catching up with Tiff and doing a ladies' lounge video, because it's just, here's my space. This is what I choose to be in the world. And sometimes it just feels like you're the only fish swimming with the stream and everybody else is ramming into you. So, you know, relationships done different is very much about, how do I want to be in the world? How do I choose to create my life? And the relationships I choose to have in my world, what if they could be honoring and nurturing and inclusive? And the ones that don't want to play like that, that's okay. I'm not going to exclude them, but I'm going to make different choices with how I spend my time, with who I spend my time with, that there's less obligation. And if I can just add one last thing, Tiff, Gary Douglas, this is something that, you know, when you hear something in your life and it just really, it imprints on you. I remember him many years ago. Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. And he said, on my gravestone, it's going to say, here lies Gary Douglas, the man that never did anything he didn't want to. And my brain immediately split in two directions, going, oh my God, that's so selfish and self-centered. And what about his family and everybody else? And then I went, oh my God, that just lightened up my entire world. Because for you to choose to do something for you is often seen, or to include you is often seen as being selfish or inconsiderate. And I think that's one of the places that a lot of people get really stuck with, knowing what it is they desire, or let alone knowing how to choose it and then action that.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, it's also, you know, like you're saying about the choosing of how you wish to be, and maybe the types of people that you want to, you know, play with on a regular basis. And it's also the thing of, you know, how do you also be with things when they're not great? You know, like, for example, you're talking being out there in the world and everything's crazy. It's like, you know, what's on offer here is relationships done different with everything. You know, how you be in any situation with whatever's kind of coming at you. And it's like these tools can really, really, really allow for you to have so much more ease with any situation. And you know, when you were talking, you know, just before about people and, you know, the different relationships that start to show up, or you might change the relationships because you realize that they're really not honoring of you. I've noticed quite a few people who, you know, I might have had relationships with in the past that have kind of just faded out, or I've chosen to fade them out because they're not really that much fun anymore, or whatever it is. And a lot of people who notice that they can't control you in the same way that they used to, you know, it's like, and like you say with Gary, you know, the man who never did anything that he didn't want to do. It's like a lot of people, when they can't control you in the same ways that they used to be able to, which when you start to look at this idea of having a different relationship, even with you, you know, you really start to see what works for you and what doesn't. And you start to notice the places where, you know, when you have this awareness and you have these tools, the places where people are doing things to you or with you that you just go along with because you're trying to be a nice person, or you're trying to be a good person, or you're trying to be honoring of them. But then you start to go, well, you know, are they kind of also being honoring of me, or are they just kind of, you know, using me and controlling me and manipulating me to get what they want out of a situation? So it's very interesting, you know, all of these tools and all of these possibilities. And, you know, I think for me as well, just the awareness of, you know, my father actually left my mother through their relationship and had an affair. And it was one of those things that I just watched everyone around him judge him hideously about what had gone on, you know. And yes, of course, things can be done in different ways, and maybe there was a better way that he could have done it. But I had no judgment of him in that whole process. You know, and I remember he came to me and sat down and he told me what had happened and what was going on. And I sort of said to him, okay, well, you know, it's like, it's fine. Like, what if you know, you also need to choose for you and choose for what works for you. And he almost fell off his chair, he told me later at that response. He had been working himself up to telling his kids about this for, you know, 12 months, 2 years, whatever. And then he came to me and he told me what was going on and that he was leaving my mother. And I was like, cool. Like, if that's what you need to do, then I'm fine with that. And he was like, really? You know, one of the most judgeable offenses in the area of relationship. And, you know, how many people actually look at a situation like that and go, well, what is actually going on for you? What's gone on for you with that? And it's okay, you know?
That's a great point, Tiff, because I think a lot of what we see in the world is, you know, if we just use your example, it would be so easy. He was anticipating probably that you were going to go into, what about me? And you just went, wow, okay, to have the kindness, to have that awareness of somebody else's reality. We never know what other people are going through. And it's not to be a doormat and let people take advantage of you, but it's just, you never know what's going on in somebody else's world, you know? That level of kindness, it doesn't hurt to be kind to people. Just stopping and letting somebody into the traffic when everybody else is, you know, aggressive and jostling, but that kindness that you were being for him, look at the change, look at the how that completely blew all of his points of view and his maybe judgments and expectations. It was like the permission that gave him from that point forward to choose what he wanted to do. At least you were an allowance of it, regardless of what other people were. But you totally created a different reality for him with that one response. What a gift. And just that willingness to be kind, you know. And if I could ask for one thing to change on the planet, it would be that we're more kind to ourselves and to each other, because he would have had God knows how many conversations with himself and how many sleepless nights and whatever else had gone on until he actually allowed himself to get to that point where I have to pull the pin. I'm a terrible father. I'm going to leave my kids, or whatever story he was running. And you're just like, wipe, gone, no point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it just wasn't in my world, you know, and that's the thing is like there are lots of different ways that relationships can be, and sometimes it can be one of the highest you know, really most judgeable offenses that some people, you know, avoid choosing for them because they don't want to be judged in a certain way. And it's like, what if, you know, you're willing to choose for you and for what you know is going to create greater for your future, no matter who is going to think whatever they might think about you or judge you or any of those sorts of things. So
yeah, and just I mean, we're on what, the 2nd or 3rd or whatever it is of December now. We're coming into what they know in Australia as the silly season. Wherever you are in the world watching this, that energy starts to build up towards Christmas and the holidays and Christmas Day and families and other obligations. It's like, what if you were kind to you through this season? What if you'd allow yourself to include you in your choices and do something that is truly honoring of you? So to honor means to treat you with regard and to treat others with regard. But, you know, it's such a different way. And if you ever hear yourself saying, I have to, or I've got to, there's obviously a sense of obligation behind that, where you've removed true choice from your reality. Be willing to look at what that choice is creating. It's not just saying, right, we'll stuff the bloody family, I'm not having time with them. But be aware of what that choice is going to create. You know, is it going to make your life easier and greater, or is it going to make it worse? So, and this is the art of learning to ask the question and the art of knowing what is truly honoring of you. And you also have the ability to renegotiate and kind of re-navigate every single relationship that you have with everybody around you. When you have a sense of you and you know what's honoring and you know what's inclusive and you know what's a kindness to you, you might find yourself making different choices, and it's okay. Other people may not like it. Like Tiff said, if they start to lose control or they can't manipulate or they can't get you to give in, know that it might cause a few ripples. But if you're truly honoring you, it's only going to create something greater. And if those people end up having less to do with you or leaving your life, were they truly a contribution in the first place? And then ask for new playmates. If you want some really cool people, okay, what will it take for new playmates to show up for me that are fun, that are kind, that are contributory?
Exactly. And, you know, just on the kind piece as well, kindness is not always, you know, being nicey nice to someone. Kindness can be calling someone on their shit, or kindness can be calling something like it is, or kindness can be asking for something that you would like in a way that you've never asked for it before, rather than, you know, doing weird underhand ways of trying to get what you want, or, you know, all those sorts of things. So it's also about looking at how you interact with the world and with people, and how you can create, you know, something different in, you know, even our, you know, the beautiful book by Gary Douglas that we're so inspired by, The Lady. You know, that also has some amazing possibilities of ways to be in that book that are really such a contribution, and something that you might also like to check out.
Yeah, and just mentioning that book too, Tiff, a lady always knows how to create what she desires, but it's always a contribution to the people around her. There's no fight, there's no wrongness, there's no judgment, there's no separation, there's no, you know, making other people wrong. There is just this beautiful way of orchestrating how you just kind of flow through the world and still honor you, but you're also, everybody else is honored in that process. So it is a phenomenal book. If you're looking for ways to, you know, create greater relationships and be more of you and choose that, The Lady book is an amazing gift. Buy it yourself for Christmas, or buy it something that you know for Christmas. It is just the most, and it's, you know, in the olden days, it's how ladies used to be, and gents were gents and ladies were ladies. But yeah, what gift could that be to you? So if you were choosing what was honoring of you and included you, what would you choose?
Beautiful. On that note,
thank you, Tiffy.
Always lovely to chat with you.
I love where our conversations go. Thank you, everybody, for watching us.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.